I want to thank God for being able to get up here one more time, just it's weird how sometimes how God gives you your messages, and it comes in ways that you never expected. But, the other day me and Nicky was sitting on the porch, and we've got a few big stock chickens that runs around, and I can holler at them chickens and they'll come running. I mean, and the other day I do it just sometimes just to Nicky will say, well, holler at them chickens and they'll come running. But I done that the other day and it stuck with me. I watched, them chickens dropped everything they was doing. Mm-hmm. No matter what they was doing, they dropped it and they come running. Mm-hmm.
Just your chickens.
And that just stuck with me, and I kept thinking about that, and so then I started doing a little research on that.
We're going to go to John chapter 8. I'm sorry, John chapter 10. Verses 4 and 5. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. And a stranger they will not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers.
I looked at that, and Lucas has also got some chickens that runs around up there, but they don't pay no attention to me. Only my chickens is the only ones that comes running when I holler. Mm-hmm. It says right there, he says, my sheep will know my voice. Mm-hmm. Them chickens know my voice, because they know that they think they're getting some feed when they get hollered at, So I began to think, and I thought, well, and I done a little research on why God used sheep, and I found a few things, and she's going to read you one of them here.
It says, sheep recognize voices and faces. It's not a struggle for them to follow their shepherd because they know his voice.
As I had studied a little bit about that right there, and just, it said that sheep don't worry about what's in front of them because they follow their shepherd. They don't look for what's in front. They just go.
All right, now we're going to go to John chapter 8, verse 12. It says, Then Jesus spake unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. Okay. And another interesting thing about the sheep that they were talking about was, if you keep sheep in darkness, they will search for light.
I begin to think about myself, and am I searching for the light? Or am I too tangled up in the world? Just like I was talking with them chickens, they dropped everything and come running. And am I willing to drop everything and come running when he hollers? But no matter what's in that path, He'll lead you around it. It's just like the shepherd with the sheep. He leads them around.
Okay. One of the facts that it had on there was sheep have a flocking instinct. If you take one away, it tends to get depressed, and it's not good to stay alone. And
You know, this morning Jennifer was talking about, you know, how God likes to have to be in together in the church. You know, this morning. You know what happens when you get out? I mean, when you get away from God, that's what happens. You start getting down, depressed, or I don't know if you really call it depressed. Well, but you're alone. That's, you know, because you know if you ain't with him, then if you ain't got him with you, then you're alone.
Okay. One other fact is sheep have a tendency to fall on their back as they're following their shepherd, and they can't get up on their own. It says that they have to have the shepherd to come help them get up off of their back, and if they don't have help, sometimes in worst case scenario they'll die. They don't let the shepherd help them get up.
You know, and that's the same way with us. You know, if we get in certain spots, you know, and get down, then God's got to help us out. You know, I mean, we just can't lay there, you know, or we'll die, just like the sheep. But you know, it was interesting how all the things that you look up about the sheep, that it all falls right along with the Bible. You know, how God wants us to be. You know, He wants us to be like that sheep. That sheep don't worry about tomorrow, it said. You know, I worry about the next week. But that sheep don't worry about tomorrow. It says tomorrow, you know, tomorrow. Because it knows that shepherd's going to take care of it. It knows it. There's no doubt in its mind. You know, God has always took care of me, so why do I doubt it? I mean, because if I'm worried about it, then I'm doubting it. But God has always made a way when there was no way. Things that wasn't possible become possible. But I worry about what's in the path. You know, I think about me. I need to get me out of the way. You know, I also seen there that it said that the sheep won't drink out of running water. It said that the shepherd had to sometimes dam the water up so the sheep could drink. You know, I think about what all God's done for me. You know, what He's brought me from. Because even just to be able to get up here, it's a big step for me. A big step. I'd much rather be over there and listening to one of you all up here. But that wasn't God's plan. And that's where I got to get me out of the way. I just want to obey God and let God do what He needs, and I just want to encourage you to not worry about what's ahead, and just let God have His way with with your life, the way that, because if I'll let God run it, then it'll go a lot smoother. Because when I try to run it, it don't work. It don't work at all. I end up on my back and can't get up. And I really don't understand why I want to keep running it, because it's running so smooth when God's running it. But I got to go back over there and get a hold of it and get it all hard again. Because I keep picking it up. But I want to be like them chickens to God. When God speaks, I want to run. Because it was just amazing to see how they do that. Them chickens was plumb across the creek. They was just over in their own little world doing their own little thing. And they don't even have to see you. You can just holler and they just come running. They dropped everything. That's what I want to do. I don't want to, I want to drop everything, because how many times has God, wanted me for something, but I was busy, I was doing something. I didn't drop it. But today's message is, I guess, is to just obey God's voice and listen. And don't let nothing stand between you and that.
And go to Psalms 37. "23 says, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand.
Just like he said right there, when we fall, or when I fall, I want to listen to the devil. Because the devil's going to tell you that you went too far now. It's over now. But then there's another voice over telling you to come on, get up. But for some odd reason, it seems like I want to listen more to the devil's voice than I do God's. I want to believe that faster than I want to believe that. And I think it's kind of a man's way of thinking. Because, somebody does something to you or whatever, then, man's way of thinking is how to get back. I'm not going to let him do this to me and just go on. But God ain't that way. God's right there waiting on you. He's there to pick you up.
The 23rd Psalm from a sheep's perspective. Sheep are skittish, dim-witted animals in constant need of care and protection. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. To a sheep, that means that they have everything they need, food, water, and a shepherd who knows how to find these things. He maketh me lie down in green pastures, he leadeth me beside still waters. Sheep won't sleep when they're hungry. Israel is rugged land, hilly wilderness. The good shepherd must know where to find a new, safe place for his flock to graze each day, and the best way to lead them there, with maybe a fairly long walk to get there. But the sheep don't worry about having grass for the next day. They trust that their shepherd will provide. He leads me beside still waters. Sheep won't drink from fast-moving springs. Sometimes the shepherd will temporarily dam the water to make it still so that they can drink. He restoreth my soul, and he leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Sheep are better led than driven. They willingly follow their shepherd's voice. If they're driven from behind, it's chaos. Sheep move directly to the shepherd, unmindful of obstacles in the way. The shepherd will lead the sheep in long, straight zigzags up and down the hill to avoid any hazards. In Hebrew, the word used for straight is the same word used for righteous. Paths of righteousness. We must know God's voice and follow him alone. When we wander off on a new, exciting path like sheep, we'll often get into trouble. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Sheep don't see good at night, and the shepherd being beside them calms them so that they can sleep. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. A rod is a short stick that looks like a baseball bat, but it's real thick, and it's used to fend off wolves. A staff has a hook on the end. It's used for walking and leaning during long hours of watch. It is used to guide the sheep to get their attention when they were in need of correction, and to rescue them from thickets, deep waters, and ravines when they would wander off. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. We think of a table as a flat piece of wood that we sit at, but to sheep their table is a flat piece in the hill country where sheep could eat and rest. Enemies like wolves are always waiting. Even when they think they're in a safe place, the shepherd is always vigilant among the sheep, not only for predators, but closely inspecting them for sickness from eating poisonous plants and injuries. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup overflows. The shepherd rubs oil over the sheep's head and horns to keep flies and insects away. Only goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. To follow means to pursue. God doesn't wait for us to come to him. He pursues us or seeks us out because it's his good pleasure to do good things for us. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Forever isn't just all the days of our earthly lives, but for eternity in heaven.
But just remember to listen to God's voice, and don't let nothing stand in the way of it. I know this ain't been very long, but it's what I had on my heart. If we all find a place to pray, we'll have an altar call.